All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 1851 Franchise. Today, we are joined by Fredric Cohen. How are you doing today?
Never better. How about you?
Doing pretty good. To kick us off, do you think you could give us a little info about your background and then maybe tell us how you ended up specializing in franchise law and, what drew you to the field?
Well, I can tell you, I didn't go to law school to become a franchise lawyer, but I probably, like everybody else in this small little franchise legal community, stumbled into it. I had, right out of law school, been working for a silk stocking securities fraud litigation firm, doing really interesting and challenging and exciting work, and was really bored by it because I was, one of 10 and I was low man on the totem pole. I got a call from a colleague who had left the firm and gone to a Chicago firm called Rudnick and Wolf, who many of your viewers will recognize as being, at the time, the premier franchise firm. And I spent the next 20 years there, working for, with, and being mentored by the likes of Louis Rudnick and Dennis Wazorek. It was a tremendous opportunity to develop as a lawyer, but in particular to learn franchising, franchise litigation, which is what I focus on, and to have left behind at some point a terrific career.
Love it. Love it. It's a great story. Perfect. The next question we have here is, what do you think is the biggest legal hurdle facing the franchising industry right now?
That's an interesting question, and with an emphasis on right now, because over the past 18 months, I will tell you, it has changed. 18 months ago, every call I got was asking me questions about business interruption insurance. Nowadays we're talking about vaccine mandates and what the impact that will have on, we talk about on franchising. But I think the biggest challenge is not a new one, but it's been exacerbated by the pandemic, and that is joint employer liability risk. 18 months ago, it was an issue we were all talking about. Legislation was being adopted to address it, to protect the franchising industry. I got off the phone earlier today talking to a client about the vaccine mandate and what it meant for their business, and she made the comment, I'm curious to see how 51% of their employees have been vaccinated to date. And she made the comment, it's going to be interesting to see how this business can survive with 50% of its staff gone. And I think as a result of that, and the challenge that, you see hiring signs in every restaurant you see on the street and all the retail businesses. What are franchisors going to do to step up and help their franchisees recruit, train, and keep work staff? And what kind of risks are they going to assume in the process of doing so? I always say, vicarious liability or joint employer is, it's not a terrible thing. It's just something that you need to do with eyes wide open. So if something is important to the brand, then you control it, and you assume the increased risk that you'll be held vicariously liable. But it's important. Well, staffing is important today, and franchisors invariably are going to have to step up and help their franchisees adequately staff their businesses.
Huh. Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, that's really interesting.
That's not fascinating, Luca. It's just,
No, I've written tons of articles on, vaccine mandates in restaurants, things like that. So it's interesting to hear it from, your legal perspective. The next one here kind of builds off some of that stuff a little bit, maybe, but what would you say is the most common mistake you see franchise brands making from a legal perspective?
Cutting corners. It's easy. Look, franchising is a highly regulated industry, period. And anybody gets into franchising needs to understand that. Anybody who makes a career in franchising needs to understand that. And the solution to heavy regulation is not to skirt it or avoid it. It's to embrace it, do it right, and not make mistakes. Any franchisor who goes out on a limb and makes, say, an earnings claim or that sort of, I'm dating myself, financial performance representation, does so at his or her peril, because when you make a financial performance representation, or you skirt any of the requirements of the regulation, the regulatory system that governs franchising, you're in essence guaranteeing that franchisee will not lose. May not be profitable, but will not lose, because if and when that franchisee does fail, the franchisor is going to wind up paying for the losses. So, lawyers are expensive. They're annoying. I don't like dealing with them any more than anybody else does. But the franchise bar is crucial to keeping the system safe, growing, and making sure that integrity is a leading characteristic of franchising.
Yeah, well said. Perfect. The next one here. What do you love about working with franchises in general?
Well, that's easy. When I say I'm a franchise lawyer, what I really represent is a method of distributing services or goods or products. And what that means is that every single case I have could involve a different industry, an industry I've never dealt with before, I don't know anything about. So I'm learning every single day. Right now, I'm becoming an expert in yogurt. I don't even eat the stuff. So it's never boring. Every day is new. Every day is different. Every challenge is fresh. But I got to tell you, even more than that, what I truly love about working in this industry is the people I get to work with. Creative, original, entrepreneurial, excited, energetic. Those are the kind of people I like to deal with every day. And in franchising is an industry that attracts people like that. And those are the people I get to work with. And that makes going to work every day, even having to deal with a bunch of lawyers, pretty good.
Yeah, great quote. The last one here. What is one thing you think every prospective franchisee should know before joining a franchise brand?
If I were going to buy a franchise, I had a client once who said, no reasonably intelligent franchisor will ever sell a lawyer a franchise, and he's probably right. But I would go and look at the leadership. I mean, I'd read the FDD and do all that stuff, kick the tires, look at other options. But I think a franchise system's success correlates very tightly with its leadership. So I would look at who they are, what their background is, how long they've been there, stability within leadership. Do they live and breathe the brand? Are they great brand ambassadors? Are they out there in the field? Are they in the C-suite, stuck 8 hours a day or whatever it is? That's what I would look at, because I think a brand is going to only be as successful as the quality of leadership that leads it.
Yeah, well said. Perfect. Well, those were all of my questions. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
My pleasure, Luca. Thanks for having me.